Hello there, and welcome to another episode of Cutting Through the Bullshit. I am your host, Dr. Stephanie Snyder, and I am a high-performance mentor. Through my unique blend of strategy, mindset, and intuition, I help men and women to cut through the BS in order to create a life and business they desire. So today, I did just do an episode, and I like to batch create, so sorry YouTube, still in the same outfit. And I was feeling pulled to talk about strategy. I love a good plan, especially when it comes together. So if you are new to my podcast or my YouTube channel, hi, thank you so much for joining me. If you have been with me for some time, thank you so much. I am honored that you're still a part of my world. And I love a good strategy. My husband just retired from the Navy after 20 years, and so I was a military wife for 20 years. Not 20 years, 18 years, whatever it was, right? Military wife for 18 years. And the military taught me that all plans are going to change. Yeah, probably the easiest way to say that. When we first got married, it was like, oh, right, like the honeymoon period, I'll just do whatever you do, right? And then we welcome kids into the picture, and I was like, okay, no, like, here's how this is actually going to work. And we started to have different discussions when it came time to talk about new orders and where we would want to go and what deployments would look like and these kinds of things, right? And there's a joke amongst military wives, military spouses, that you can make plan A, and then you'll have to make plan B, and then you'll have to make plan C because plans A and B don't work, and then you'll come up with plan D, E, and F, only to find out that none of them matter and nothing's changing, right? And it was just this constant state of flux. Like, you never felt like, even when my husband was getting ready to deploy, I'd be like, okay, I don't know, like, I'm not going to say that you're leaving on this date until you're actually like flying out of the country, right? And then we'll figure that out. Returns, same kind of thing, right? I'm not going to bank on you being home for this because it's going to change 45 times between now and then. And so I got really flexible with my plans. But the thing is, there's still a plan. And that is unfortunately what some people lack, because they don't want to commit to something only to have it change repeatedly. And so I help my clients create flexible plans, flexible strategy, or as I like to call them, real plans, plans for real life, right? And this was something that I became really, really good at, especially when my kids were younger and I was doing the nap time hustle. And I had to create pockets of flexibility, because with my husband gone, I never knew what my day was actually going to consist of. I had a good idea of what I wanted it to consist of, but if I was hard and fast with that day looking exactly as it was, a wrench would have been thrown in it and I would have tail spun out and just been a pissed off, angry mom. And I didn't want that, right? So, prime example, yesterday afternoon was a shit show. I'm just gonna call it what it is. So my oldest was traveling with his senior class, so he was not an extra driver that I could count on for a Monday night of sheer chaos, right? And so yesterday afternoon, I had mentally coached myself into, it's gonna be fine, Steph. Whatever happens today, you did your best, right? I mentally coached myself into that, because when I looked at my calendar, I legitimately had to be 3 places at the same exact time. And last time I checked, it was just me. So I was trying to wrap my head around this and coach myself into not spiraling into overwhelm, which I'm really good at doing that, right? And so picked up the 2 little ones after school yesterday, and we had to go do a quick errand, and I had reached out to her soccer team, my 9-year-old soccer team, because she has practice. She had practice on Monday. And so I reached out to the mom chat and I said, hey, can I bring my 9-year-old to you so she can make it to practice? I will be there at the end of practice, but I just need someone to get her there because I cannot today. And immediately a bunch of moms were like, yeah, I'll help, right? So I found the one that was the easiest, who was going to be located closest to me at that time. Dropped off my 9-year-old, took my 7-year-old back to my 14-year-old's volleyball game, right? Had to stop and get Chick-fil-A for dinner. I really wanted a home-cooked meal, but my mental capacity was gone at that point. I didn't have time to prep a full meal and bring it, right? So Chick-fil-A it was for dinner. And we're at my daughter's volleyball game. And the third thing that I had to go to was a parent meeting that was right next door to the volleyball game. And I had to leave the volleyball game early to get to that meeting on time. However, as I'm leaving the volleyball game, there's a stray dog that has tried to go into the gym and is now wandering around the parking lot. Well, as much as I'm not like a huge dog person, I knew that if my dogs had wandered out, I would want someone to stay with them until he was safely returned, right? Or she was safely returned, whatever. And so I call animal control because this dog has no tags on him whatsoever. And they're like, yeah, we're on their way. But now I'm late for said meeting. And so I find some older kids that are playing soccer at the field. And I said, hey, like, can you guys just hang out with the dog till animal control gets here? I've got to get to a meeting. And one of the guys goes, oh, actually, I know that dog. That's my neighbor's dog. I said, cool, great. Can you bring him home for me? Yeah, sure, no problem. So I get to the meeting. I'm late, 15 minutes late, right? Which I hate being late to anything. So they're at the meeting. I have to leave this meeting early now too, because I've got to get my oldest daughter to her soccer practice and pick up my 9-year-old from her soccer practice. So I know it's exhausting just hearing this, right? So we leave that meeting early. My husband is listening to that meeting online, worked out fine. I got the information I needed to, but nevertheless, I didn't like coming in late and then leaving early. It's not my vibe. And so I get my 14-year-old to her soccer practice. I had already texted the coach earlier that day and said, hey, she's probably going to be late. I've got a bunch going on tonight. He said, okay, cool, fine, right? Drop her off, zip over to the other field that I thought my 9-year-old was on to pick her up in the nick of time, right? I texted the mom group and I was like, hey, I'm going to be there. I'm coming in hot. We're sitting there waiting for them to come out. And I get a call from one of the moms and they're like, hey, where are you? I said, well, I'm sitting outside the stadium. Why? And she said, we're not there tonight. We're on the other field. The other field that I had just dropped my 14-year-old off was where they were. So I said, okay, I'm on my way. And she said, no. I'm making the executive decision for you. You go home. So-and-so's mom, so-and-so's dad is going to bring her home to you. You just go home. You've done fine. Get home, right? So it wasn't until about 9:30 last night that I actually had a chance to breathe from coordinating all this chaos. Now, some of you may be listening going, well, it's your own fault. You're the one with 4 kids in sports, right? I get it. I'm not asking for sympathy here, okay? What I am saying, though, is had I had a hard and fast plan and expectation for everything to go perfectly smooth last night, I would have lost my mind on someone. But going into last night's chaos, as I had said, I coached myself through the fact that it probably wasn't going to go according to plan. And guess what? It didn't. That was not my plan at all for any of that. None of it, right? It didn't go according to my plan. But you know what? My kids got to the things that they needed to go to. I was present at a volleyball game. I was present at the meeting while I was there. Got the information that I needed. And my kids made it to their events with a little bit of extra help. And we're all alive. But it was because I had a flexible plan that I didn't tailspin. And unfortunately, this is what I see happen. We get really excited about something and we make this great grand plan, and we're like, this is how it's gonna go, this is how it's gonna go, this is gonna be the thing, this is gonna be the thing, and it's gonna go just like this. And I remember when I was in college, I think someone else has already quoted this already, but I remember when I was in college, I think I was actually in undergrad, going into graduate school. And I don't remember if I heard it from somebody else or if it came to me on my own, but I had started to coin the phrase, I make plans and God laughs at them. And it is so incredibly true, especially as a military spouse, right? Like, I made plans and God was like, no, actually, this is what's going to happen. It's not going to be even remotely close to what you think. This is actually how it's going to unfold. But what it taught me was to give myself a whole lot of grace and to lower the expectations, which actually allowed me to enjoy things more and be present more, because I wasn't so caught up in it having to be planned down to the minute, right? Like, I used to be that way, where it was like minute by minute. If for some reason I had a slow person driving in front of me, my whole day was ruined. And so I learned to create a very flexible plan. Do I want to leave the house at a certain time every morning to get my kids to school? Yes. Do I know that it's going to be that time every day? It's definitely not. It's not. It could be 2 minutes later. It could be 5 minutes later. It could be 10 minutes later. But I do have a window of time in which, you know what? As long as we leave by this time at the latest, my kids are still going to be on time to school. I give myself a bunch of breathing space because life is unpredictable and stuff's going to happen. And the only thing that you have control over is how you respond to the situation. So yes, let's make a plan. I am here for that plan. But when we make that plan, I'm going to ask you a bunch of challenging questions for that plan. Because if this is a plan that we're creating for your life or your business, I want it to be something that you can honestly commit to, that you can keep consistency with. It may take you some time to build up that consistency, right? Like, in the first part of August, I started a new training plan, long-term training plan for triathlons. I don't know when my next triathlon is going to be, but I am training for it. I am consistently doing that, okay? Started at the beginning of August. This week is probably the first week that it's going smoothly so far. I haven't had to change too many extra things. I've actually gotten my workouts in when I want to, right? But it took me, we're 6 weeks in? 6 weeks of trying to figure out what day would be best for this workout and that workout, and how do I continue to train even on the weekends when we've got soccer games and all that other stuff going on, right? And I know that 2 weeks from now, none of that's even going to matter because we're headed out of town or something like that. I don't know. We got something going on, right? We have soccer tournaments or something, right? I know that coming up, that schedule is going to have to shift a little bit. I initially said that on Tuesdays, I want to do the longer bike rides with a group of people that I ride with. Well, I couldn't do that today. And I can't do it next week. So is my whole week ruined because should I just throw away my whole training schedule because I can't do it on a Tuesday? No. You adapt. And the more adaptable you are, the faster you're actually going to hit those goals because you're not letting some BS excuse get in the way. So when I work with my clients, we make a plan. I work with my clients for 6 months right now for private coaching. We make a plan. The very first call that I have with my clients is making a plan. Where do you want to be at the end of our time together? What do you want to work on? here's some areas to think about. And then I say, okay, here's some action steps. Can you get consistent with those? Yeah, sure. And then typically the next week they're like, I wasn't consistent with any of that. Okay, so let's look at it again. What worked? What didn't work? What can I do differently? I love those questions. And we adapt. So when I started my training plan, the first couple of weeks was pretty good. And then all of a sudden it was like, holy crap, I didn't do any of the workouts that I wanted to do this week. And so I reevaluated what worked, what didn't work, what can I do differently? Okay, well, here's the thing. I don't really love to go for a bike ride at 5:30 in the morning when it's dark out. Okay, so how can I fit that in? Can I ride with other people? Yeah, cool. All right, perfect. How do I make it work? Okay, cool. Let's do that. But if you have zero plan, you're going to just drift through life. Maybe that's okay for you. That's cool. I'm here for that. And it's not wrong. I have things I want to experience in this life. And so by having an adaptable, flexible plan, I know those things are going to happen. Do I know when? No. No idea when. Right? But I know that there are going to be some things I know when they're going to happen, right? Other things are like, no, I just want to experience this at some point. Cool. Let's focus on it, right? So, I love that. Good plan. When a good plan comes together, it just feels so great, right? I am not the one who's going to get stressed over a plan not coming together, though. I do get stressed sometimes. I'm not going to lie. But I can give myself a whole bunch of grace and be like, you know what? It is what it is. Right? So, I'm going to sign off here. I hope that you have a beautiful rest of your day. And if you do have questions about working with me, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. You can find me on Instagram at stephaniesnyderphd. If you are watching the YouTube, thank you so much. If you are listening to the podcast, I do appreciate it. And you can always like, share, comment, any of these things. If you are looking for more information about me, you can go to my website at stephaniesnyderphd.com. I do have a blog on there. You can get access to my podcast episodes. You can get access to the YouTube channel. All of that stuff is on the website. And if you do have a desire to start working with me, or you have some questions about working with me, please don't hesitate to reach out. You can shoot me an email through my website, or you can head over to Instagram and send me a direct message there, or even on LinkedIn. I do have some clients coming through LinkedIn right now, which is super fun. So I'm sending you so much love. I hope that you have a beautiful rest of your day. And as always, be you, because the world needs more of you. Bye, love.